Hey, good afternoon, Trondheim friends, and welcome back to Patio Ponderings. It's been a few weeks with all the holidays. I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and that your New Year is off to a great start. So, today my patio is my car. I spend a lot of time in my car, along with my normal commute to and from the church. I have visits that I do, meetings that I attend, conferences, educational opportunities, along with all my regular everyday driving. And so one of the things I appreciate and do often is listen to audiobooks. And one of the books that I listened to recently really captured my attention, and it's called The Escape Artist. It's written by Jonathan Freedland. The subtitle is The Man Who Broke Out of Auschwitz to Warn the World. So it is a true story based in the Second World War. Walter Verbo is a Jewish teenager from the Czech Republic who ends up in the concentration camp of Auschwitz. And after a time there, he really comes to grips with what is happening there. The systemic killing of the Jewish people. And he begins an incredible mental file and a very detailed mental recording of the entire life of the camp. And he builds all this information. And then he and another inmate, Fred Wetzler, actually find a way to escape Auschwitz so they can tell the world what is going on. The account given in this book about life in the concentration camp is nothing short of absolutely disturbing, and yet it's absolutely riveting. It creates a picture that I had not fully appreciated before. It also helped me understand a good deal about the anti-Jewish sentiment or anti-Semitism that was taking place even outside of Germany, in the governments of other countries and among the people of other countries as well. And the misinformation being spread and the conspiracy theories being spread about the Jewish people and how that fomented the hate of them certainly helped in the concentration camps not being checked in this beyond inhumane treatment. It leaves me, as you can tell, just speechless, having listened to that book. Why I bring that up today is that one of the things that I've been pondering very recently is this new resurgence in our country of anti-Semitism or anti-Jewish sentiment. There has been an increase in violence, of hate speech, of discrimination. In fact, and this is I found to be a shocking statistic, anti-Semitic incidents reached an all-time high in 2021. When we put that in the whole scope of our U.S. history of, World War I, World War II, the Jim Crow era and the pervasive discrimination that came out of that for anyone who's not white, in the civil rights movement, to think that now in 2021, 2022, that anti-Semitism is at an all-time high in our country is very disturbing. And it's this thinking about this and this pondering helped me look at our reading that we had on Sunday in a little different light and in a different perspective. And so the story that we read had to do with John the Baptist and his work in preparing the way for Jesus and of Jesus' baptism. And we read out of the book of Matthew, chapter 3, and I'm thinking particularly of this verse, verse 7. Now many Pharisees and Sadducees came to be baptized by John, and he said to them, "You children of snakes." And now some translations say, "You brood of vipers. Who warned you to escape from the angry judgment that is coming soon?" So John the Baptist is making a very pointed, angry insult at the Pharisees and Sadducees, which represent two different sects of the Jewish people. And so I was thinking about how our Christian reading, or rather our misreading of our own scriptures, has contributed to the problem of anti-Semitism, because so often we come upon these passages and others in the Gospels, and we tend to think that the Jewish people or the Jewish religion are a problem, that they are at its extreme. They are the ones that killed Jesus. I've heard that one quite a bit. But we need to be careful that we understand who it is that's being referenced in these comments. So when John the Baptist is talking to these Pharisees and Sadducees, he is talking to the religious leaders of a religious establishment that is corrupt, that has strayed away from what God had intended and what God desires. We remember that all the other people getting baptized that day are everyday Jewish people. And so it's not the whole of the Jewish people that are at the other end of this angry comment, or at the other end of this accusation. And I think we tend to forget that when we're reading scripture. And I think we tend to forget that Jesus is Jewish. Jesus was raised in a Jewish home, raised in the Jewish traditions. Jesus' ministry, especially as we read it in the Gospel of Matthew, is steeped in Jewish scripture, or as we know it in the Old Testament. The Jewish people are God's chosen people, and God made promises to the Jewish people, and God does not go back on God's promises. There is no way we can look at the Jewish people and not consider them our brothers and sisters in faith. We share the same scriptures, and we worship, in essence, the same God. And regardless, our teaching, our Christian teaching, is to love our neighbor, full stop. We using hate, using violence, using discrimination against another people, even if we think they believe the wrong thing about God, is not okay. And so we need to continue to ponder how our actions, how our use of scriptures, how our lives are in allyship with our Jewish brothers and sisters, and how they are part of the problem. So as always, I'd love to hear what you think about this. This is a big issue to cover in a few short minutes. As always, would welcome your comments and your questions. So have a great rest of your day, and we will see you Sunday. Bye.